Hi, welcome to live stream yoga with Louise. Tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today we are building tenacious all body strength. Remember, it's your tenacity that builds strength. So try to power through with fluidity. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify when you need to, rest when you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to set up for today's class standing more or less in the middle of the mat so that you've got room in front of you and room behind you. Look down towards your feet. Square up your feet in parallel underneath your hips, all 10 toes looking to the front of your mat. You're going to stand up nice and tall. We'll take it into a basic roll down and then we'll begin to add to that roll down. Take a big breath in to prepare. Think soft ribs, soft belly. As you exhale, feel the ribs falling in. Feel the abs starting to contract. Start to roll down. Think hollow belly, rounded back as you peel down one vertebra at a time. Take it down as far as you can. Take a recovery inhale at the end of your movement and then use the whole exhale to come back with that same hollow frame, restacking, realigning. Let's rinse and repeat one more time before we add. Just start to find your rhythm. The next time you restack and realign, when you find yourself in a standing position, drop your left arm towards the floor, come back to center and roll it down. Nodding your chin to your chest, hollowing out, starting to build that tenacity in your roll down. Keep dropping the left arm every time you find yourself in a stacked position. Looking for that strength through the spine, looking for that strength through the abs. Keeping your feet firmly grounded, all 10 toes staying connected to the mat. The next time you find yourself in a stacked position, still the arms and float the left leg out to the side of the room and back. So a single leg lift to the side on the left. We're going to do 2 more leg lifts in combination with your roll down. Always remembering to work with your breath. Now let's start to add the arm and the leg. So after your next roll down, when you find yourself in a stacked position, drop first the right arm, come back to center, and then lift the left leg. Then roll it down, nod your chin to your chest, hollow out your belly, round out your back. Restack and realign. Once you're standing, give me a drop on the left arm, come back to center, float the left leg out to the side and back, and then roll it down. Restack, realign. Drop your left arm, come back to center, lift the left leg, come back to center. One more full roll down, up and down. And then once you find yourself stacked, you're going to play with the weight in your feet. Rock forwards and backwards, keeping the whole foot connected to the mat. So weight into the front of your foot and then weight into the back of your foot without lifting the toes or the heels off the mat. You're just going to lean forwards and backwards. And then see what it feels like when you lean side to side, still keeping the whole foot on the floor. So there's no section of the foot that's peeling off. You're just shifting your body weight. Now think of those 4 points. You can think of them as the points of a compass. So north, south, east, west. You're going to start moving clockwise through those 4 points. So north, east, south, west. And you're going to keep traveling in that circular pattern, keeping the whole foot on both sides connected to the mat. So don't allow the toes or the heels to peel up off the floor. Come back to center, weight equal on the feet. You're going to float up onto the toes and then come down but hover your heels just off the floor. So you're gripping the mat with all 10 toes. You're going to lift up and down a few times. Inhaling as you float up, maybe exhaling as you float down. You could reverse the breath pattern, but just keep the breath flowing and don't fully ground the heels. So you want to look for balance, you want to look for control, all of that tenacity in the legs. Let's do 2 more, and then we'll come into a working warrior 3. Ground your feet, place your hands on your hips. You're going to fold forward into more or less a tabletop line. So take a moment to just check if there's a long line through your neck and your spine. Your gaze stays down on the mat. You're going to try to hold that tabletop line. So try to stay as stable as you can through the shoulders and the hips. Try not to hike on the left. You're going to float the left leg behind you into a warrior 3 table. And then tap the toe to the mat and come back to your table. 10 times, you're going to try to tap to the mat and come back. Trying to keep the rest of your table as stable as you can. So try your best not to pop and rotate through the left hip. Keep belly to spine the whole time that you're playing. Once you've done between 5 and 10 taps, you're going to find your way back to your standing frame and you're going to bring it back into your roll down. Take a moment to just check that your feet are in parallel. Nod your chin to your chest, roll it down 3 times, just focusing on the actual pattern of the roll down. Making sure that you're working with your breath, moving with conscious fluidity, making sure you're activating your core. So abs are working, back muscles are working. Starting to find your working breath pattern. Then the next time you find yourself in a stacked position, you're going to drop the right arm heavy to the floor, come back to center, roll it down. 3 times you're going to combine the roll down with the arm drop on the right. Just finding your own rhythm. Looking for that sense of control the whole time through the core. Once you've done 3 arm drops in combination with your roll down, you're going to still the arms and focus on 3 side leg lifts to the right. So the next time you're standing, float the right leg out to the side of the room, come back, roll it down. Trying to keep your sense of balance and control as you shift the weights into the left leg so that you can float the right leg off without losing your balance, without losing control of the movement, building up that tenacity in the muscles. Once you've done 3 leg lifts, we're going to start combining the arm and the leg movement. So the next time you find yourself stacked after you roll down, drop the right arm towards the floor, come back to center, then float the right leg up, back to center, roll it down. 3 times we're going to play with that combination movement. Dropping the right arm, coming back to center, floating the right leg up and rolling it down. One full roll down, and then we'll play with that weight placement in the feet. So once you restacked and realigned after your last roll up, start to rock the weight forward into the balls of your feet and then back into your heels. Give yourself a few moments here just playing with that forward and that backward motion without lifting the toes or any portion of the foot for that matter off the mat. And then give me some east and west movements, so side to side, still keeping the whole foot grounded on either side. And then start to trace an anti-clockwise circle through those 4 points. So north, west, south, east. Keeping the feet firmly grounded into the mat as you play with that subtle shift in the weight. Then come to stillness with the weight equal on all 4 corners of your feet. Place your hands on your hips. Begin to hinge forward into a tabletop line. Find your tabletop line first. Think of the shoulders and the hips. Try to keep them as even as you can. So try not to hike and lift higher on the right side of the body. Try to keep even. Float the right leg behind you. Find your warrior 3 line and table. Tap to the mat and back time. You're going to give yourself anywhere between 5 and 10 taps. Trying to keep your table as stable as you can. Shoulders and hips nice and even. So think of trying to even out the body weight on the left and the right side of your body. Keeping your belly button firmly pulled into center. I'm going to call that 4, 3, 2, 1 more. Find your way into a standing frame. We're going to play with that roll down and we're going to bring it into a haunch line. So nod your chin to your chest. When your head's about the tabletop line, bend the knees. Float your heels off the floor, coming into a haunch line, floating the arms out in front. Then retrace your path back. Reground your feet. Roll it up. Nod your chin to your chest. Roll it down. Start to bend the knees. Start to float the heels off the floor. Float the arms out in front. Retrace your path back. Grounding the feet, leading with the back of your ribs as you restack and realign. Starting to move with fluidity. Then the next time we find ourselves in the haunch line, we're going to add a side-to-side twist. So nod your chin to your chest, roll it down. Start to peel into your haunch line. Keep the haunch line, so knees are squeezing into center. As you float off center to one side, come back to the middle, float to the other side. Come back to the middle. Ground your feet, lead with the back of your ribs, restack, realign as you roll up. Let's do that twice more. Nod your chin to your chest. Start to bend the knees, start to float the heels off. Find your haunch line reach. Keep squeezing the knees into center, almost as if you had a soft ball between the 2 knees. So you're trying to squeeze into center and keep your balance on the mat. Last time. And then we'll find our way into the seated frame from here. So last working haunch line. Find it. Keep the knees squeezing into that soft soccer ball between your 2 knees as you twist gently side to side. The next time you come back to the middle, place your hands on the mat and just find a seat on the mat. We are going to be rolling it down in a minute, so if you know you need a little bit of support for your lower back, roll up your hand towel into a little sausage of support. Place the sausage behind you where your lower back will need support. We're going to play with a bent leg line today, so knees bent, feet grounded. Try to replicate that balancing work that we'll be doing from a standing frame just now. So try not to allow the toes to peel off the mat. Try to keep them firmly grounded. Feel like the weight is equal north, south, east, west on both feet. Alrighty, we're going to start seated up nice and tall. Bracing really gently behind your thighs. Try to just give me a soft connect with bent but active arms, and try not to cling to the back of your thighs. Just give me a soft connect and feel the belly work. We're going to start seated up nice and tall. We're going to take it into the C curve. So beginning your movement with your shoulders stacked over your hips and the tallest spine that you can forge. Take a big breath in, soft ribs, soft belly. On the exhale, ribs fall in, abs contract, and you give me a C curve. Thinking hollow belly, rounded back. Without clinging to the back of your thighs, just hollow out and pause in your hollow frame. and then float back to your start position. Let's do that twice more. Just finding the basic C-curve frame first. That's the groundwork for your tenacious C-curve. Right. Go back to center. Let's begin to add to it. So find your C-curve. Float the right arm up. Overhead if you can, or just to shoulder height if overhead is too much. Still holding. Float the left arm up. So still holding that C-curve. Now see if you can do both arms up. So sans arms, you're holding the C-curve. Then bleed back to your start position, restack, realign. Let's do that again. Hollow out the C-curve, maintain the C-curve. Float your left arm up. Float the right arm up. Both arms working. Bring it back. One more time with that combination before we add to it. Hollow out the C-curve, lock the C-curve in, keep looking towards your belly button. Float one arm overhead, then the other. Then try to lift both arms together. All right, let's add to it. Hollow up. Lock that hollowness in, float one arm up. Float the other arm up. Float both arms. As you come back, take it into a full roll down, just keeping the arms gently extended in front. Roll it back up and come to your high seat. Hold softly on the back of your thighs, C-curve up. Float one arm up. Float the other arm up. Try both arms. Then roll it down. Look down towards your belly button, ground through your feet. Sit up nice and tall. Relax the hands to the back of your thighs. C-curve up. Keep the C-curve, float one arm up. Float the other arm up. Float both arms. Take it into a roll down. We're going to do that one last time before we bring ourselves into a supine position and start to play on the back. So hollow out and C. Keep the C-curve frame. Float one arm up. Float the other arm up. Try both arms. Roll it down. Stay on the mat as you come down the next time. So just maybe slide the feet in a little bit closer. Scoot your padding out. Place it one side. We're going to play with a little bridge articulation. So begin with your feet and your knees hip width distance apart. Feet not too far from your body line. Begin with a neutral pelvis and a neutral spine. Take a big breath in to prepare soft ribs, soft belly. On the exhale, ribs fall in, abs contract, tilt your pelvis to 12 o'clock. Start to bleed up into your bridge line, starting to connect your back line, disconnect your back line from the mat as you take your belly up to the sky. Pause. Just give me a nice active stretch here in your bridge. So a long stretch that begins below the breast line, feeds through your lower belly, through the tops of your thighs, and reaches long past your kneecaps. Then start to lead with the back of your ribs. So think hollow belly, almost rounded back as you reconnect to the mat. Find your way back into neutral pelvis, neutral spine. Take a recovery breath. And then draw the legs up one at a time into a tabletop line. Squeeze the feet and the knees together along the midline, but make sure you're not pulling the knees through the tabletop line. Keep that little 90 degree behind your knee. We're going to tick-tock, keeping this bent knee line. Drop both knees off center to one side. Pause. Feel the firing through your obliques. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, take it to side two. Start to give me a working, stuttering metronome. Dropping and pausing off the center line to one side. Make those obliques work to hold the drop. Then come back to center. Check that you're not pulling your knees through the 90 line. And don't exaggerate the movement, so don't try to make it too big. It's just off the center line, just enough to fire those obliques. Let's do one more drop to each side. We're going to work a 100 next, and you can either stay in the tabletop line or you can challenge yourself by working a parallel extended line, squeezing the legs together. Scoop to bleed up off your shoulders and start to beat through your 100. Vigorously pumping the arms up and down, hinging from the shoulder joint, holding the rest of your scoop. Inhale for a count of 5, exhale for a count of 5. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. The last one. Exhale 2, 3, 4, 5. Bend your knees back into table. Reconnect your head, your shoulders, your arms to the mat. We're going to find a double toe tap. And then once we've found it, we're going to add to it. When we're doing the toe tap, make sure that you're not hinging from the knee. So you're not hinging from the knee and dropping your toes to the mat. You're locking your knees in position and you're hinging from the hip to try to tap both toes either halfway and slowly back to start, or all the way to tapping to the mat and back. 5 times, you're just going to double toe tap with control. So think of relaxing your lower belly to effect the tap and then pulling up a zip from your pubis towards your navel to draw the legs back. Just give me 5 slow and controlled double taps. Then after your next tap, as you start to draw the knees back, scoop to peel up off your shoulders and hold in table for 5, 4, 3, 2. Relax your head, your arms, your shoulders back to the mat. Double toe tap, half or all the way. As you slowly draw back, scoop to peel your head and your shoulders off the mat so you've got a nice U frame, and hold with the arms hovering alongside your body, or maybe you want to softly connect to the back of your thighs. Then relax your head, your shoulders, your arms back down to the mat. Let's do one more. Double toe tap. As you draw back, scoop to bleed up and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2. Relax your head, your shoulders, your arms to the mat. Then tap both big toes to the mat and then fully extend the legs. Drag and brace into your heels, neutral spine. Bend your knees, drag your toes. As you draw your knees back up into table, scoop to peel up. Maybe arms are hovering. Maybe they're holding onto the back of your thighs. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2. Relax your head, your shoulders. Tap your toes to the mat. Fully extend your legs. Brace and kick into the heels. Then bend your knees as you start to drag up. When your knees draw up into the tabletop line, scoop to peel up and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2. Tap back out to the mat. Reconnect your head, your shoulders as you fully extend the legs, bracing and kicking into the heels. One more time. Start to bend the knees, drag as you find your way into table. Scoop to peel up and hold for 5, 4, 3, 2. Keep the scoop. Open up your legs a little bit wider. Brace into your feet. Prepare for rocker. Rocking the body up off your tailbone and back to your start position. Softly holding onto the back of your thighs. Maybe you're tapping your heels to the floor as you rock up. Or maybe your sense of balance is good and you can keep those heels floating off the floor. Let's do 2 more rocks, then we'll bring it into a double leg stretch. So we're going to end on the back in your little scoop position. Thinking of softly drawing both knees almost into a little ball. Then keep that U frame, open up the legs into V and tap back 10 times. You're going to open and close, keeping that U frame on the mat. Then the next time you tuck into your little ball, brace softly around one knee and extend the other leg to 75, and then begin to switch sides. The whole time you're keeping that U frame. So we're building tenacity through the core by holding the scoop. Exhaling as you draw one knee in, inhale to transition. Try to keep the weight of your shoulders just off the mat. Stay here or start to transition into a crisscross pattern by tucking the hands behind your head and starting to fire on the obliques as you think knee to opposite armpit, rotating with control through the trunk, keeping that scoop into the mat. You're going to feel your abs are starting to burn and scream at you, trying to power through as you build that tenacity in the core. Let's do 2 more sets. Last set, we'll work a bridge line for active recovery. Relax back down to the mat. Ooh, give those abs a little stretch. Relax the arms alongside your body. Knees are bent. Feet are grounded and not too far away from the body. Beginning neutral pelvis and neutral spine. Big breath in, soft ribs, soft belly. On the exhale, tilt to 12. Feel the ribs fall in, feel your abs contracting. As you start to bleed into the bridge, float the arms overhead to end on the mat behind you. Back of the hands connected to the mat, palms up. Pause here, looking for a little stretch into your bridge. Then keep the shoulders and the arms as heavy as you can and articulate back down through your bridge with control. Shoulders stay heavy. Arms stay heavy on the mat. Find neutral pelvis, neutral spine. Take a recovery breath. Then peel back up into your bridge line, tilting to the 12 o'clock position, grounding through your feet, keeping your inner thighs active by squeezing the knees into center as if you were pressing gently into a soft soccer ball between the 2 thighs. Then as you peel back down your next round, try to end with the fingertips looking up to the ceiling. You're going to lock the arms in this position as we come back into bridge and play single side. If you find this locked position too much, you can relax the arms to your side as you get your bridge going. Alrighty, so you know where you're going to. Tilt back up into your bridge. Make the shoulders nice and heavy to the floor. See if you can transfer all the weight into your left foot and float the right leg up to 90. You're going to give me a drop on the right, stopping when the 2 knees are alongside each other and back to your start position. Fingertips are reaching for the sky the whole time. If that's too much, relax the arms at your side, maybe pressing off your palms to ground your bridge. You're going to try to lift and lower that right leg 10 times without losing the height of your bridge as you play. Once you've done 10 lifts, find your way back into your bridge. As you start to peel down and reconnect, float the arms down so that they land alongside your body when you find your way into neutral. Big breath in to repair. Neutral pelvis, neutral spine. On the exhale, tilt to 12. Start to articulate up into your bridge, floating your arms with you, so that as you reach the apex of your bridge, the arms are draped on the mat overhead behind you. Pause here, looking for that stretch through the trunk, through the belly, through the tops of your thighs. Keep the arms heavy on the mat as you articulate back down one vertebra at a time, finding your way into neutral pelvis and neutral spine. Take a recovery breath. Begin to tilt once more. Start to float up into your bridge. Bring the arms up and lock them into position. Fingertips looking towards the sky. Shoulders heavy into the mat. Lead the rest of your body back down to the mat. Keeping your fingertips reaching for the sky. We're going to bleed back up into our bridge. And we're going to find that one-legged movement on the left. So shoulders nice and heavy, fingertips reaching for the sky. Transfer all the weight into your right leg. See if you can float the left leg to 90. And start to drop on the left and back to start. So you're stopping when the two knees are alongside each other and back. And of course, if arms alongside is too much, just relax the arms to your side, pressing your palms down into the mat. You're going to try to lift and lower anywhere between 5 and 10 times on the left. Once you've done your lifts, bend and ground both legs. Articulate back down. Tilt back into neutral. Then tilt to the 12 o'clock position, scoop to bleed up, and just softly, softly find a connect on the back of your thighs and hold for 10, 8, 6, 4, 2. Relax back down to the mat. Take a recovery breath or two. We're going to play on the right side of the body, and we're going to systematically build up to a scissor line. Start to hug the right knee in towards your chest. Softly exhaling as you draw the knee in towards your chest, and then inhaling as the knee draws away from you. Maybe giving yourself 5 dynamic draws at first, keeping your head and your shoulders on the mat. Then maybe scooping and thinking head and shoulders off the mat. Keep the scoop. Float your right leg up to the sky, holding behind the thigh, anywhere that you can connect to behind the thigh. Float your other leg into a little scissor frame. Maybe it's small, maybe it's big. And then keeping the scoop, you're going to switch sides, drawing one knee in towards your nose and dropping the other leg away from you. And you're going to keep that drop as wide as you can, keep control of the movement. Keeping that hollow frame. So you're thinking hollow belly, rounded back, lower and mid back, nice and heavy into the mat. Shoulders off the mat if you can, with roughly 2 fingers of air between your chin and your chest. All right, then bend both knees, reground to the mat. Relax the arms at your side. Take a recovery breath. Let's repeat left. Start to dynamically draw the left knee in towards your nose and away. Give yourself at least 3 knee draws with your head and your shoulders on the mat. Then work the next progression by seeing if you can scoop your head and your shoulders off the mat as you draw that knee in towards your nose. Then draw knee to nose, extend the leg, find a holding position and set up your scissor line. Start to change legs. Maybe your scissor is small, maybe you're feeling strong and you can work with a wider drop, but try to keep that hollow frame, building up that tenacity. Last one. Bend your knees, reground to the mat. We're going to play with a little rollover, and I'd like you to take a look before you try it. So depending on how your body is feeling, you might keep your movement small, or you might decide to play big and then maybe even add to your rollover. Hands are going to stay relaxed at your side, or you can tuck them palms down underneath your bottom. If you're feeling like small work on the mat today, you're just going to stay with the tailbone lift. Maybe finding your 90 line first by floating your legs up to the sky. Begin your movement just behind the 90 line. Maybe just a little tailbone lift off the mat coming through 90 and then back to your start position. So you are literally rolling off the tailbone and back to the tailbone. If this is not enough work, you're going to try for the roll over. I'm going to demo. Begin your movement in the same position. Pretend somebody's pulling on your toes. Come through the 90 line, pike up towards the sky, and then roll slowly back. Open up your legs into parallel. Then squeeze them together as you come overhead and open them up into parallel as you come down. If this is not enough, you're going to add a leg drop to the movement. So squeeze the legs together, peel up, pike up. As you come down, open up the legs into parallel, tap your heels to the floor, and then squeeze the legs, pike up, and come back down to tap. All right, so I've given you 3 options. You're going to run through the option of your choice 5 times with control. I'm going to stick to the whole movement. All right, so squeezing the legs together to pike up, rolling down slowly, opening up the legs into parallel, tapping the heels to the floor, squeezing the legs together, piking up, almost mini shoulder stand, opening back up to tap. Once you've done 5 of your choice, bend the legs, ground them. Let's take it into a little, let's play with a little roll like a ball to find our way into the seated frame. So either bracing the shins or behind the thighs as you tuck into a little ball and rock the body up and down. At least 5 little rocks, keeping a hollow belly and round it back. Last one. We're going to end in a staff seat. So just sitting up nice and tall. And we'll start by finding an L lean. So begin by checking that you're not stuck behind your bum bones. Lift your bum flesh out the way, sit up nice and tall on your bum bones. And maybe start by just relaxing your hands to the tops of your thighs. So you're starting shoulders over hips. Give me a little L lean forward, trying to keep the longest spine that you can. So there's a stretch from your lower back to the neck. You're not hollowing out, you're thinking long back. 3 times. You're just going to focus on that lean forward with the longest spine that you can and then back to your start position. Feet are about hip-width distance apart and actively braced. And then if this feels good, give me 3 L leans forward and float the arms out in front every time. Maybe even framing your ears on either side as you lean forward. If that feels good, try 3 leans with the hands tucked behind your head and elbows wide. Try not to lose that long stretch as you lean forward. Now let's start to play with all of those movements in unison. So you're going to begin seated tall with the hands tucked behind your head and your elbows wide. We'll run through slowly. So you're going to keep that surrender position. You're going to give me an L lean forward, pause. Keep your L lean and float the arms alongside, reaching through your fingertips and framing your ears on either side. Keep your L lean and then fold it forward, maybe reaching for your toes or relaxing your hands to your shins or the floor. Hold, just getting a stretch into the lower back. Then sit up nice and tall. Tuck both hands behind your head. I'll lean forward. Hold. Keep that spine stretched through the back. Start to float your hands overhead, framing your ears on either side. Hold the stretch. Then relax into a soft forward fold, maybe holding onto your toes or maybe the undercarriage of your feet. Let's do that one last time. Sit up nice and tall. Tuck both hands behind your head. Elbows stay wide. L lean forward, hold it. Look for that stretch through the spine and the back. Keep that long line through the back. Float the hands overhead to frame your ears on either side. Hold. Fold it forward. Sit back up, nice and tall. Tuck both hands behind your head. Maintain your tall seat. You're going to twist off center to the left. Come back. Twist off center to the right. Come back. Keep alternating side to side. Keep those elbows nice and wide. Make sure you're not pulling on your head or your neck. Then fold it forward. Take a recover. We're coming back into that twist and we're going to give ourselves 3 pulses. Set up your surrender position by tucking both hands behind the head. Make sure you're sitting up nice and tall. Keep that sense of tallness so the shoulders stay stacked over the hips. We're going to twist left with 3 pulses. Come back to the middle and then 3 to the right. The whole time you're maintaining your staff seat, feet are actively braced, and you're looking for that tall sense of trunk. Keep the hands behind the head. Give me an L lean forward. Hold it. Frame your ears on either side. Hold it. Give me a forward fold. Pause here. Just breathe nice and deeply into the back and the sides of your ribs. Then sit up nice and tall. Start to bend your right leg. Brace softly behind the thigh. Just a soft connect. Start to tilt the weight off your tailbone. Bringing the leg into the tabletop line. See if you can float the other leg off the floor and come into a modified boat. Now see if you can hold onto the back of your right thigh with just your right hand. Mirror image the boat line on the left into table, or fully extend both legs and hold. 5, 4, 3, 2. Brace into your feet. Bring the legs down gently with no sound and bring it into a forward fold. Taking a moment here to just stretch the back of your legs to breathe nice and deeply into the back of your ribs. Sit up nice and tall. Shoulders over hips. Bend the left leg. Brace softly behind the thigh. Start to tilt the weight off your tailbone and bring the left leg into a tabletop line. Look for that L lean, so you've got a nice long line through the spine. Try to float the right leg off the mat. Find a modified boat line. Now try to just hold with the left hand. See if you can replicate the line on the right. Maybe you're staying in table. Maybe you're bringing both legs into boat and holding. Long L lean spine. Brace softly into your feet. Bring it down. Control through the core. So no sound as those legs connect to the mat. And then a soft forward fold. Breathe nice and deeply into the back and the sides of your ribs as you hold the fold. Keep belly to spine. Then sit up nice and tall. Bend your knees, ground your feet. This time bracing ever so softly on your shins, as if you were gently just trying to hug them in towards your chest. Start with that beautiful stack, shoulders over hips. Take a big breath in, think soft ribs, soft belly. And then as you exhale, ribs fall in, abs contract. Give me a hollow belly and a rounded back. So think cat-like frame. Then inhale to come back to your start position. So you're starting in a seated table, if you like, with a long spine, long line through the neck and the spine. And then you're hollowing out in cat on the exhale. And come back to your start position. Give yourself a few dynamic seated cats. Working with your breath. So every time you find yourself inhaling, you're seated nice and tall and you're thinking soft ribs, soft belly, shoulders are relaxed away from your ears. As you exhale, the ribs fall in, the abs contract and you hollow out. Last one. We're going to come into one last forward fold. So the next time you find yourself seated, maybe pressing onto the tops of your shins, maybe brushing your hands down, maybe reaching for your toes and giving me a toe lock with an active elbow, or maybe just reaching past your toes, trying to just find a bind if you can, and just trying to relax your head and your chest heavier. So trying to come down a little bit deeper into your fold. Try to iron out those tight kinks behind the knees. Your kneecaps will want to gravitate for the ceiling, but just try to relax them down to the mat. Then end it, seated up nice and tall in staff pose to end off your practice today. Hands to pray in front of your heart in gratitude. Thank your body for its tenacity and its hard work. Namaste to you all. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed today's class. Till next time, keep it light.